Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Well. For those who have been wondering where Erriyon Knighton has been all 2024, well, we did see him one time in 2024 indoors, but for the most part, all of 2024 track and field season, Erriyon Knighton has been MIA, and the questions have been asked where Erriyon Knighton has been. Well, guess what, trackies? I have breaking news as it relates to what has been going on with Erriyon Knighton. And this one is a shocker. Not to me. Well, maybe the result now is a shocker, but what went down for me is not a shock because I did hint at this, in a few live videos as it relates to what is potentially going on with Erriyon Knighton. No, back in March, Erriyon Knighton tested positive for a metabolite of trebolene tracase. Now, this is according to the press release done by USADA. However, here is the crux of this entire situation is that an independent arbiter has now given Erriyon Knighton a no-fault violation, which means that he is set free and free of all charges that are associated with testing positive for a drug. Trackies, let's get into this. I'm going to read exactly what USADA had to say in their press release. And of course, you know me. I'm going to give you my unfiltered thoughts. All right, so independent arbiter concludes no fault violation appropriate for track and field athlete Erriyon Knighton. USADA announced today that an independent arbiter has rendered a decision in the case of track and field athlete Erriyon Knighton of Glenville, Florida, after a full evidentiary hearing on June 14 and 16, 2024, where both Knighton and USADA were provided an opportunity to present their cases and witnesses to the independent arbiter. The arbiter determined that Knighton will receive a no-fault violation and will not be required to serve any period of ineligibility after testing positive for a metabolite of trebolone during an out of competition drug testing on March 26, 2024. No, apparently this comes from USADA. We did what the rules required us to do in all positive cases. That is what CEO Travis T. Tegart had to say. We can take comfort. Yes, he's taking comfort that justice was served and transparency as required by the rules was achieved. You're bringing a case against someone that tested positive, and he is taking comfort in knowing that justice was served. According to who? Are you the defense? Trackies, where is the AIU when you need them, when they seem to be harping down on every other athlete? But we will get into that later on when I'm finished this reading. Now, trebolone is a non-specified substance in the category of anabolic agents and is prohibited at all times under the USADA protocol for Olympic and Paralympic movement testing, the United States Olympic Committee, national anti-doping policies, and World Athletics anti-doping rules, all of which have adopted the World Anti-Doping Code and the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list. So this particular substance track is banned at all times based on the World Anti-Doping Agency prohibited list and code, which is adopted by every other governing body's anti-doping agency's policies. Trackies. Now, after the hearing, the arbiter determined that Knighton's positive test was more likely than not caused by consuming meat contaminated with trebolone, which is also known livestock growth promoter that is used legally in beef cattle produced in and exported to the United States. I guess all of these athletes are non-beef eaters because everybody will be running around with trebolone in their systems according, to this release track is by this, independent arbiter that found him again at no fault. Anyway, let us continue. Knighton tested positive despite any fault or negligence, so he will not face a period of ineligibility since the sample was collected out of competition. Then can you wait. I'm kind of confused. Where did this independent arbiter come from? Anyway, let's continue, Trackies. Maybe I'm confused about the fact that, this was taken in without or not being in competition. But anyway, let's continue. There are no competitive results to disqualify. As required under the rules, Knighton was provisionally suspended on April 12, 2024, and following this legal proceeding, his provisional suspension has been lifted effective immediately, and he is rightfully allowed to compete following this legal process. Both WADA and the AIU Athletics Integrity Unit, remember I was asking about them, exercise their right under the rules to observe the evidentiary hearing, and both have a right to appeal the arbitrator's decision. Okay, and let me see big bad AIU that seems to be grabbing all the African athletes and all the third world country athletes and grabbing them left, right, and center and banning them left, right, and center. Let me see what the big bad AIU is going to say in this case if they are going to appeal this case. Now, in reading, because this hearing was held on an expedited basis to have the matter resolved before the USA Track and Field Olympic Trials, the arbitrator issued an operative award, which is an abbreviated document that only conveys the arbitrator's ruling. The operative award can be found, on a link that they provide on the page. Jackie's, oh, how the plot thickens. So he tested positive in an out of competition drug testing for a metabolite of trebolone, which Trackies is banned. It is prohibited at all times under WADA code. This particular substance, it's an anabolic agent. It falls under the category of anabolic agent. I cannot stress that enough. So, Trackies, guess who the AIU banned for 4 years recently and was. So, Trackies, I wonder if y'all can take a guess which athlete the AIU banned for 4 years recently. Can you take a guess? Yes, Trackies. Isam Asinga, because he apparently had taken some contaminated gummies, Trackies, and they were unable to get the actual batch of gummies in which he got his parcel from. And as such, Trackies, they just went ahead without even confirming whether or not the gummies were indeed contaminated, banning him for a whole 4 years. This is the AIU. Contaminated gummies, Trackies. Contaminated gummies. That is what he was banned for. Now, Trackies, here we have Erriyon Knighton now pulling up to the scene, testing positive. And guess what happens with the good old USA and USADA? He is given a no fault. Yes, no fault at this particular time, and he's released to do whatever he needs to do to qualify for the USA team. And it is interesting that USADA says that they take comfort in knowing that justice was served. I mean, whose side is USADA on in this case? USADA should be carrying a case against Erriyon Knighton to say, hey, you should be banned because you have an anabolic agent was found in your system, right? However, they're taking comfort in knowing that justice was served. You can't make this up, Trackies. You legitimately cannot make this up. When does this end? When does the corruption end? I thought, are we going back to the 80s where America knowingly had, athletes test positive for, steroids, and they were still sent on the Olympic team to represent, America and, break records left, right, and center back in the 80s? Do you remember those days? Are we living in those times now? The same brush that was used to brush Isam Asinga is the same brush I'm using to brush Erriyon Knighton. Full stop, point blank, period. Or if it is a case where now that Erriyon Knighton can get off on this case, then so shall Isam Asinga based on this particular ruling, since it's pretty common for beef to be contaminated, Trackies, in this particular instance. You know what this just tells me, Trackies? At this particular point, get a good lawyer in the United States of America, and even the blind man will be able to see at this particular point. At this particular point, this is absolute nonsense. And right now, I'm seeing the whole social media burning down based on this particular revelation. But I'm waiting to see what the AIU is going to do, because I remember them coming down hard on a Toby Amasan, even going back, Trackies, to appeal the case again. because they were not satisfied with the result that Toby Amusan was given back in 2023 that disrupted her whole entire season. I vividly remember these cases. So let me see the AIU sit back and watch Erriyon Knighton go on to live happily ever after testing positive for a metabolite of trebolene, trackies. Now let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Yes, trackies, I'm going in hard. This is Olympic season and I ain't holding back. Like the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.